Shanti. Good morning and happy Satguruvar. There are reasons to celebrate every day. And today Baba is telling us that this is difficult. Raj Yoga practice. Of course, we already knew. But normally he says, Sahaj Raj Yoga. It is simple, but not easy because it's very subtle. And Baba is taking up soul consciousness today. So we have to practice to be soul conscious because there will be tests, and the tests will not happen while we're sitting in meditation. They will be happening in the middle of activity, and all of a sudden, test will come. Be soul conscious at that moment. So the essence is, sweet children, practice being soul conscious. The more soul conscious you become, the more love you will have for the Father. How is soul consciousness connected with love? You can love him when you feel him. And you can feel him when you're very soul conscious, of course. Question, what wisdom do soul conscious children easily develop? And the answer is how to give regard to those who are senior. This is the wisdom of soul consciousness. Arrogance makes you into corpses. Dead people. Dead people don't know what's going on. So, soul conscious, you know who's who because you can feel it. And so you have to also recognize Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba and the Brahmins, who is a high-level soul. People say everything and everyone should be equal. And Baba says, everyone is different. Recognize who is who. Shiv Baba, the number one soul, not a human soul, the supreme soul, number 0 actually. And Brahma Baba, the highest among all human beings. And like that, 1, 2, 3, etc., all the way to 8 billion or something like that. So the arrogance makes you a corpse who cannot remember the Father. When you become soul conscious, you remain very happy and you can imbibe very well. Happy means you're not disturbed by anything that normally would be designed to disturb you. Your sins are neutralized and you have regard for seniors. Those who have honest hearts understand for how long they remain soul conscious and remember the Father. And the song is, neither will he be separated from us, nor will our love for him die. Om Shanti. Who said this? The soul said Om Shanti because, according to the drama plan, your children are now becoming soul conscious. You have been body conscious for half the cycle. Now you are becoming soul conscious for half the cycle. You must now practice being soul conscious. Baba repeatedly says, children, may you be bodiless. May you be soul conscious. Children are sitting in front of Baba, that's in Madhuban. Others are sitting far away in centers. But you all know you must become soul conscious and remember the Father. Follow only Baba's Shrimat. These are the most elevated directions. Have a lot of love for the Father. Why does he say that? If you love someone, then you harmonize with them and you go according to what they want. So the Father says, now renounce your bodily relations and also your bodies. You can't love God. There is a saying in Christianity that you can't love God and material things at the same time. Not God and money, it's something like God and money, but it's a different word beginning with M. I forgot all my quotations. But yeah, there is that saying. So Baba says, renounce your bodily relations, including your body's practice, being soul conscious a great deal. Your body is to be destroyed, whereas the soul is imperishable. Because of remembering perishable bodies, you forgot about souls. It is explained to you, children, what a soul is. It is said that a soul is like a tiny star. It cannot be seen with these eyes. It cannot be seen unless you have a divine vision. People try very hard to see a soul, but they are unable to see it. And even if a person does see a soul in divine vision, you still can't understand what that is. You know, many people say, oh, I see a little star or lots of little stars. What's this? Souls, but what's in a soul? It is not big. A soul is extremely tiny, like a star, such a tiny point. It is difficult for these things to sit in your intellects because you have been body conscious for half the cycle. So body conscious also means gross and materialist and driven by sense perception. So the Father explains, have faith that you are souls. What does it mean to have faith? Or the opposite of that, doubt. We souls are residents of there, the soul world. We adopt bodies here. These bodies are made of the 5 elements of matter. When a fetus is ready, after about 5 months, fetus is ready. How do you know when a fetus is ready? It's got to have all the pieces, the head, arms, legs, and at that time, it hasn't decided whether to be male or female. When the soul comes in, then they start kicking, but also they decide which gender they're going to be. So your gender depends on the soul. But it's not that there are just male souls and female souls. A soul can be, it's 50-50. You have to be 42 births male and 42 births female. Unless you get 81 births, in which case one of them would be less. So when a fetus is ready, the tiny soul enters the fetus and there is life. And they call it the quickening. So quick is a very old-fashioned English word for alive. A soul is sat, true, real. Not the truth, but real. And it is conscious, living. And the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is also true, Sat, not the truth, but true, and Chit, alive. He is the Supreme Soul. He is not large. He is also a tiny point of light. All souls are tiny. Just as he has knowledge, you souls also have knowledge. It is a great wonder how such a tiny soul has all the knowledge within. However, you children repeatedly forget these things. You become body conscious. You souls are now becoming the masters of the world through your bodies. That means you are becoming gods and goddesses. The Father is God the Father, and in Bharat, Lakshmi and Narayan are called God and Goddess because the Father makes them this much elevated. See what you become through this knowledge. Those who study well and pass their examinations, they earn a good income. And those who are very beautiful in the world, they also receive prizes. That means money. They are called Miss India and Miss America. I don't know how much money you get for winning a beauty contest. A lot of money. And you get opportunities in the film industry and like this. So those people make so much effort on their bodies. In the Golden Age, they have natural beauty that attracts. So you are attracted by beauty in the Golden Age, but you are not, it doesn't take you away from the awareness of the soul because you are totally surrounded by beauty. Bodies there are made of subtle pradhan elements, and they attract so much. The pictures of Lakshmi and Narayan and Radha and Krishna attract everyone, the images in the temples, but those pictures are not accurate pictures. Once I saw a vision of Krishna, and then I realized, yeah, this is something else. You cannot make a drawing of that level of beauty because your pen and pencil is so gross. It's very interesting. So extremely beautiful, beyond imagination, unless you see it. And then it's like, ooh. There, they are Sato Pradhan, and so they have natural beauty. Baba explains all this. Those people sing, "Oh, purifier," but they don't understand anything. They call out as though they are senseless, saying, "Oh God, have mercy, be merciful," but they don't know who God is at all. And they know God is merciful, so they shouldn't need to tell him to be merciful if he's already merciful, but they do. If they knew the Father, they would also know the creation. Golden, silver, copper, iron age. This is why the rishis and the munis all say, it isn't this, it isn't that. They do not know the creator or the creation. And this is correct. No one knows the creator or the creation. If they would know, they could become the masters of the world. And this is why in Second World War, the swastika was used, because this is the sign of the creation. So you now know it was the Father who made Lakshmi and Narayan like that. You can come over here. You are now sitting personally in front of the Father, but because you have been body conscious for half the cycle, you are unable to have that much regard. People are very concerned about receiving regard. And then if they don't receive regard, they're busy with that and they can't give regard. So you have not become soul conscious at all. One thing that would happen is it would be very difficult for people to realize that it is Shiv Baba speaking through the body of Brahma. They would just see Brahma. And so then they would start dictating to him. So when you become soul conscious, your regard will increase day by day. When you become completely soul conscious, then there will be regard for you. Interesting, huh? You will be in such a stage that people will feel it. Your stage will continue to be reformed. Reform means you returning to your original condition. And there will also be happiness. You'll be fulfilled. It is number-wise. Just as the Father is explaining to you, you must also continue to show others the method of considering the self to be a soul. So if you yourself are soul conscious, they feel it, because you tell somebody to be soul conscious. If you're not soul conscious, they won't know what you're talking about. Your cycle of 84 births has now come to an end. Now you have to return home. We souls came from our home, soul world. We adopted bodies here, and we are playing our parts. Your intellects also have a knowledge of how many births you have taken here. Do you feel 84 births? 82, 81, 85? 84. Only in becoming soul conscious is effort required. Maya, again and again, makes you body conscious. You now have to conquer Maya. So sometimes Maya is called illusion or delusion. And it is very easy to think something is real that isn't really real. Something trivial you think is important, but is trivial. So sit in solitude and think, I am a soul. The Father has said constantly, remember me alone, and then your sins will be absolved, that is, neutralized. Do not have attachment to your body. Do not be attached to your body. That means you have to prepare yourself for death. And do not worry about how it looks. It will get old. There are no bodies that get younger. I, the soul, am imperishable. Also, do not even connect the intellect in yoga to any brothers. That means any other souls. Focus attention. Come under the influence of, get impressed by. So there are many very impressive people, but they're still brothers, souls. They're not father. Because you, as a brother, cannot receive an inheritance from another brother. So neither remember any soul nor the body of any brother. Remember that in the very beginning of Gyan, many people were very attached to Mama. And And then when she passed away, it was a really, really big shock for everyone. But she was very young, 45 years old. And a lot of knowledge of Baba came after that no, you must remember incorporeal Baba. So just remember the one Father. Only from the Father will the inheritance be received. I, the soul, am now returning to my home, and then I will go to the golden age and claim my fortune of the kingdom. There, we will be soul conscious, automatically, naturally soul conscious. Here, Maya, Ravan, the pull of sense perception, makes you body conscious. And you are now once again making the effort to become soul conscious. So genderless, colorless, casteless, raceless, cultureless, free from all that. Continue to benefit yourselves. Come and sit here in front of the pictures. Just as the military are made to practice on a field, so you now have to become soul conscious and practice remembering Baba. So Mount Abu is the headquarters of the many different military and police training places. And so wherever you look, you will see the soldiers. And I remember one time there was a recruitment going on, and they wanted, 1,000 young men. And Mount Abu had about maybe 50,000 came. It was swarming with young guys because the unemployment in India is really big. And so all of a sudden there was just millions of young men all over the place trying to get included in the military. But you'll also see there is a field where they practice in between Gyan Sarovar and Mount Abu. And every so often they will close the bridge because you might get shot. They practice with their rifles. And then so Baba says, this practice that we do, sit in meditation and all that, this is like the soldiers drill, left, right, eyes left, eyes right, whatever they do. So, but when you're actually in the war, it's chaos. When you're practicing, it's organized. And the actual war is total chaos. So if you have that background, you're more or less able to manage yourself in the middle of that chaos, maybe. But the Father says, you are my children. By becoming body conscious, you came under the influence of Maya, you belong to Maya. You called out, O purifier, O ocean of knowledge. All the rest are oceans of devotion. There is so much expansion on the path of devotion, all the millions of rituals and things. The Father comes into the false world, and that too in an ordinary form. The false world means what's real is not visible and what's visible is not real. And he is heavily disguised. It is fixed like that in the drama. The Father enters an impure body. He would not enter the body of Lakshmi or Narayan because they have already received the fortune of their kingdom. So it's meaningless to enter them. It's all over by that time. No one recognizes me in my ordinary form. They call out to me, but they don't understand that I would also definitely have to enter someone's body. My form is an incorporeal point. So I would definitely enter the body of Brahma, the father of the people. So the father of the people definitely must be here on the earth, and he would definitely have an old body. So there are images of Brahma in Bhakti. He's the only deity with a beard and mustache, and usually they show him with a white beard and mustache, so he's old. So this Brahma is old, and Vishnu, who is new, is standing next to him. So that's in the Trimurti picture. There is so much knowledge in the picture of the Trimurti. Previously, you children used to invoke those deities. So in the early days of the yajna, there was a lot of visions. And when they would offer bhog, then the bhog offerer would go in trance. And what they would also do is offer bhog, go in trance, and then the sanskaras of a deity would come into their body and they would start to move around. I've seen this. And especially a small Mohini used to have the Krishna coming into her, and would he used to not like glasses. So anybody who was wearing glasses, he would take them off and throw them away. So they would have a lot of this type of activity going on, and some of the people who would be in trance and have this deity sanskaras come into them, they would stay for quite a long time. So you would feed them. And so they would also bring the soul of Narayan and then feed him and do all these things. And so this is why when Avyakt Bapdada comes at the end of the Murli, there is always this matter of feeding. You feed him, he feeds you, all of this. So this is connected with that invocation of the spirit of the deity. And so Baba said it was a wonder. I myself used to love Narayan so much. So when the soul of Sri Narayan was invoked, he was also fed. So it's like Brahma Baba would see the spirit of Narayan and the sanskaras of Narayan being played out through the trance person. And he says, internally, I understood that I was becoming him. It's quite an extraordinary thing. If you think about it, you say you are an 84 birth soul, so that means you are a deity. That means a top-rate deity. Then if your future form comes down in someone else's body, and you know that that's your future form, and you interact with that one, it's pretty extraordinary, no? So they used to do that. Now it's not. You would definitely offer hospitality and feed someone who has already become that. So the trance sisters used to receive an enormous amount of attention, care, hospitality when they had these spirits in them. And then when they were not coming anymore, then they didn't receive that. So sometimes they didn't like that. That's understandable, but it wasn't you, it was another person coming in your body. So then Baba is thinking, this means that I am offering myself that hospitality. So Brahma Baba's relationship with his future self, his former self, that he's interacting with, who's coming in another body, And of course, there was a year when Sheep Baba would come in the body of one sister. And so there was that interaction as well. And when it stopped, that sister didn't like being relegated to a basically ordinary position because she wasn't playing that role anymore. The Baba also used to say that he was offering himself that hospitality. So you children saw these things, didn't you? These things are so wonderful. No one else can explain these things. Only you can explain these things. This is completely new knowledge. The Father says, I am once again establishing the deity Dharma, civilization. At the beginning, there is the kingdom of deities, and in the middle, the kingdom of Ravan arrives. Now it is the end. At the end, the Father himself comes. You children know the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you know what is going to happen in a short time. Destruction will definitely take place. Is that okay? Because it's full on now. Happening, no? It is said that the Mahabharata war took place and that it will take place again. So you have to really think about the fact that you have personally passed through nuclear holocaust and you're still here. I hope you understand that, because you will have to face it. And so don't be afraid, because everybody else will be terrified. But you will say, okay, let's go. We've done this before many times. At this time, no one knows this. Only the one Father is the purifier. He has come. So that means how much time is left? Shri Krishna cannot be that, the God. He took one birth in the golden age, and after that he changed his name and form from the name and form of Krishna. The whole makeup of the body changed. The Father has explained that to you, that you who were worthy of worship then became worshippers. And the Father has explained to you how you take 84 births. He says you have been body conscious for half a cycle. Now become soul conscious. You are souls. I am your Father, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. I am bodiless, and I give you children my introduction. When the phrase, ask the gopis and gopis about supersensuous joy is said, this refers to the final period when the result of the examination comes close. So that means the circumstances are really bad, but they are in a state of joy because they're connected with Baba, even though the circumstances are really, really bad. Those children who do a lot of service are definitely loved by everyone. They are the ones who are remembered first for the exhibitions. So people write, send so-and-so. That means they themselves understand that those ones are cleverer than they are. But there is also a lot of arrogance. So they say, well, I can explain just as well as these people, so we don't need those people. So Baba says you also have to give regard to your elder brothers and sisters. No one would ever say such and such is 100 times better than me. No one has the wisdom to give regard to others. What would be the condition of those who do not follow what the Father says? body consciousness makes them into corpses. So they're completely like dead souls. And they don't understand who they are. So they don't understand who someone else is. So like that. The Father says, become soul conscious. Wake up in the morning. Remember Shiv Baba. They don't even do that. Very good Maharatis stay in yoga very little. You know, Dadi Janki, she was so busy all the time, but anytime there was nobody around, you would see her practicing. You must have seen that, yeah? Always she was, okay, going. Even small children can explain the knowledge, but when a small child explains the knowledge, it's like a parrot talking, and they teach the child, and I'm a soul, like a little girl, little boy speaking, but they don't really understand what they're talking about. When you stay in yoga and also imbibe divine virtues, you can experience deep happiness. Without having yoga, your sins cannot be neutralized. So your sins are your tendency to whatever your problem is. And when the yoga level goes down, the problem goes up. The yoga level goes up and the problem level goes down. It's connected. Someone who is pure is remembered. Therefore, there should be a lot of love for the one. It is explained to you again and again. Be manmanabhav. Perceive the mind of God with your mind. You have been body conscious for half the cycle. So it is difficult to become soul conscious. It does take a lot of effort. It takes years to create a stage of soul consciousness. Years. So that's why we need time. To consider yourself to be a tiny soul and also consider the Father to be a point and remember him requires effort. Those who are honest will feel how much they themselves remember Baba. This practice is very difficult. It is not easy to claim the sovereignty of heaven for 21 births. You understand you are tiny souls and that the roles of 84 births are recorded in you. The soul becomes the main actor. The soul becomes everything. You take the form of, you adopt the role, you play the part. But because of being body conscious, the soul consciousness vanished. Now you identify with your part, but it's not you, it's your part. This is the main thing you have to practice. This ancient yoga of Bharat is very well known. This is the Gita. So this Murli is the Gita, the real Gita. But they removed the name of the incorporeal one and put instead the name of a deity, a bodily being. If you go through the Gita, you will find that it mentions the name of Krishna maybe once, but it also, there are many words in which the Gita takes the name of God. And it's not Krishna, it's usually something more like Shankar, because they use epithets. Epithets is like, for example, Elizabeth, the beautiful singer. That's an epithet. It's like an epithet. Yeah. And so it's like a description. And so if you go through the Gita, whenever Arjuna is talking to God, on one occasion Krishna, but on other occasions using other epithets. So Krishna is the name of the first child of the golden age, but it's also an epithet, and it means the most attractive one. And so God is known as Satyam Shivam Sundaram, the truth, the benefactor, and the beautiful one. And so these are all these, you could say, titles of God, they're epithets. You remember in the Murli a couple of days ago, Baba said that as many other acts of God, that many temples there are. So whatever is an act of God, like he's the magician, the businessman, the gardener, the laundryman, etc., etc., all these are epithets. And so they build the temple of God, the gardener, and the temple of God, the laundryman, and the temple of God, the giver of the third eye. So especially you have in India these 12 Jyotirlingam temples. And so Trumbakeshwar, for example, the god who gives you the third eye, and Vaidyanath, the god who is the Ayurvedic healer, and then Mahakaleshwar, the destroyer, the great death. These are all temples of Shiva that refer to what he did. And then in the Gita, you also have these epithets. So what they did is they took this particular one epithet and they put the picture of Krishna on the front of the Gita. And this is how they got the idea that the god of the Gita is Krishna. And it was done about a couple of 100 years ago for political reasons, because the religious leaders wanted the Hindus to go against the colonial powers and reclaim independence for India. So in the Gita, Baba talks about Swaraj, right? Self-sovereignty. So Swaraj actually means independence. So that means on a spiritual level, you want independence from Ravan. But on a political level, they wanted independence from colonial powers, European colonial powers. And so there's a absolute connection between the symbolic meanings that are in the Gita and the political situation. So it's parallel, you see. So Gandhi got it and he used that. But that was later. This started much, much earlier. And they also wanted to put to put women on a higher position. But that was they never succeeded in that. They also wanted to remove the idea of untouchability. They didn't succeed in that. All these agendas of Gandhi couldn't happen because the prevailing social attitudes, the existing social systems, too strong. But then Baba is stronger than that. Gandhi was not stronger than that, but Baba is stronger than that. So it's a big deal to change civilization, to change mentality, to change the fundamental beliefs of people. And this is done by soul consciousness, because the soul is genderless, colorless, casteless, religionless, regionless, all less, languageless. So the Father says, those who have performed a lot of devotion from the beginning to the end, that means from the beginning of the Copper Age to the end of the Iron Age, they are the ones who will return to the soul world first. Now you too have performed a great deal of devotion, and so you children should have so much happiness that you have found the Father. You've been looking for him for 2,500 years. That's a long time. Baba is teaching us this study, and through it, we become the masters of the world. So definitely follow Baba's directions now. And if you follow the Father's direction and something goes wrong, he will put it right. You've experienced that, right? So, but that's the meaning of, he says he takes responsibility for what will happen if you do what he says. When he gives advice, he then becomes responsible for what happens. So you should continue to remember Shiv Baba again and again. And this is why Baba also always says, it is Shiv Baba who is telling you everything. So though Brahma Baba also says many things, but he's just saying what Shiv Baba says anyway. So Brahma Baba says, I listen and I understand that it is Shiv Baba who gives these directions. I also follow his directions. You remember him. That's Shiv Baba speaking. You remember him. And this one also remembers him. So Brahma Baba is this one. Renounce the consciousness of bodies. You have not come to Dada the jeweler. You have come to Shiv Baba. He is the ocean of knowledge. And you have come to Shiv Baba to drink the nectar of knowledge. So this first temple of Shiva, Somnath, is the oldest one. So the first act of God is to speak. And he speaks the knowledge which changes you from mortal to immortal. That is called nectar. It's magic. You become immortal from mortal. But not you did drink something, but you hear the knowledge. So you are continuing to drink the nectar of knowledge even now. Baba, the ocean of knowledge, continues to speak knowledge to you every day. So just remember him. The Father does not tell you to renounce devotion and rituals and practices, but when you receive the light of knowledge, you will naturally understand the difference between devotion and knowledge. So there are many people who are around BKs, but they still haven't quite captured what it is. So they're still in devotion. But when they get it, then they come into knowledge. It's a phenomenon. You have been performing devotion for half a cycle. Even so, no one has gone back home. Like they say, so-and-so gone to Nirvana, Buddha gone to Nirvana. Baba says, nobody came back. I'm here. I know who's here. So it is only the one Father who can take you back. And that's at the end of the cycle. So one-way traffic, once you're here, you're fixed. You have to stay here no matter what until the end. That's why there's increase in population. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. And the spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. So the essence for dharana, follow the advice the father gives, considering it as Shiv Baba's Shrimat. Drink the nectar of knowledge and enable others to drink it. Secondly, remain busy doing service while giving regard to everyone. Renounce body consciousness and practice being soul conscious. And the blessing is, may you be an embodiment of success who, by keeping the balance of being a child and a master, moves along with yukti and yukti way. So as much as possible, be a child in terms of doing service. That doesn't mean be childish. It means you have to be cooperative and adjustable. And be a master in terms of your stage in making effort. That means you're fully responsible for your practice. And be a child while making connections and in doing service, and a master on the pilgrimage of remembrance and in churning. Be a child with your companions and in the gathering, and a master as an individual. To move along while keeping this balance is to move along in a yukti-yukt way. And because you're surrounded by kings. So every single one is the boss. So you have to be very flexible around that. Now, by doing this, you will easily achieve success in every task. Your stage will remain constant and stable, and you will easily be loved by all. Right? Because if everybody thinks that they're the king, then they will give you orders, and you might not like that. But if you're easygoing about it, it won't be an issue. That's what that's about. So the slogan is, when your thinking and doing are equal, and when you walk your talk, then you will be said to be a powerful soul with willpower. Because if you actually do what you talk about, it's very high. Om Shanti.